by Deepa Galor. Actor, director, and writer Rajat Kapoor. Director, producer, and writer Sudhir Mishra. Director, writer, producer, and founder, film festival director, Kashish Bride Film Festival, Sircar. Producer, director, and writer, Shoojit, Sircar.
Hello everyone. Thank you for being here this evening in this oasis of intellect called South Bombay. Thank you for having me moderate this session. I just want to tell you that I didn't want to do it because I had told Ms. Nanda that I risk offending people here because they are all much more acclaimed than I. And for that reason, if there is a question that you dislike, if you find it cheeky, so already Gustaki maaf ho, but for the most part, the questions will just be a starter and then you guys can talk among yourselves, and that is the least scary scenario for me. Thank you. The reason I didn't want to do it, apart from the fact that they're all very accomplished, although very, very nice people, is because I think I've been in the limelight since 2012 actively, and I have been on numerous panels for the changing roles of women in Indian cinema. And then the other second best topic for cinema moderation is usually things like changing face of society via independent cinema. Now I'm stuck because my first question was indeed for Sudhir Mishra. So while we wait for him, I will try to make it as less boring for you and for me. So I would like to ask whoever here wants to answer the question, what is independent cinema, for the sake of our audience? Whoever wants to jump in, what is independent cinema?
Yeah, I totally agree with both of them. Rajat saying that yeah, I agree with both of them. Rajat saying it should be a breakout idea which has not been seen before. It's your own idea, basically. You are the only person to tell the story. But again, I also agree with Shoojit, basically. Independent cinema just कोई नहीं है. सिर्फ तुम ही हो, you are the only person and nobody else is there with you. There's no production company, there's no investors, there's no market forces believing in you. You have to steam it forward at your own per se. I mean, and you'll gather people on the way, you know. So you need to gather a set of independent people, like independent actors, independent producers, independent distributors. All of them should come together to push it ahead. Otherwise, they will go. You know? So I operate in the far end of the independent spectrum. Even LGBT cinema does not even have the backing of the independent cinema. But yeah, that's basically the passion of carrying on your own true vision is what I call independent cinema.
Okay, Deepa is not a filmmaker. Yes.
I'm not a filmmaker, but as an audience member, I'd like to say that when I was growing up, there was such a thing as cinephilia. Yeah, so there was such a thing as cinephilia. Why don't we get to see these films more? Why don't we get to see these films in the cinemas? Why don't people have access to films? And somewhere I think that memory remained in my mind. And when I met Vrinda one day, just over casual lunch, and we said, we were naming a few films. I think how to see these films. We read about this. We see how to see these films, and we said, well, let's have our own festival and invite these films. So that's how it happened.
Thank you, because we really did need a film festival in that part, especially since the only one we've had for a few years now that has sort of grown over time is always tentative. You don't know. You reach September and then you wonder, is Sal Mami hoga ya nahi hoga? So we were there last year. It was fantastic, and I hope for the sake of cinema, all the film festivals come back to Mumbai because we are the largest producer of films in the world, this country. And again, since Sudeep is not here, let me start. So
we get one question extra.
yeah, you all get one question extra. Although once we arrive, we can all thoda sa relax because we will speak. I wanted to say, so if I hear you correctly, independent thought makes for independent cinema, correct? And not the cast. Because when I would go and audition for films, like I've auditioned for, I think, both of your films at some point, I was told that Shoojit Sircar makes independent films with commercial actors. Do you accept that allegation?
I would say I've been fortunate enough. So I started with an independent idea. But then I was fortunate that these populist actors agreed to work with me. So then I changed my independent cinema into populist cinema. So that's how I reversed it. But the basic, when we started with, and all the films that I did, because my background is also documentary, so it was always to document a life in certain way. But क्या है ना कि मुझे भी नहीं मालूम जिस वजह से I have more problems also because then every time every film idea that you're taking and also what happens is once a film is has done well in box office, so there is a pressure which you take upon yourself कि now what, and वो pressure कोई देता नहीं आपको, वो pressure आ जाता है.
Luckily, I've never had that pressure.
So then what happens is no, it's good. Now, even I didn't have the pressure because I never took that. That's why I produce all my films. I have never been to studios ever, so I produce all my films. So जैसे बोला ना मैं माँ के गहने बेच के फिल्म सारे बनाता हूँ, and I do all the other kind. So what I do is if you have to chase your idea, so आपको जुगाड़ लगाना है, इधर से उधर से, एक्टरों को भी थोड़ा सा आपको you will have to tell them, you have to little take them in your side, so that they are ready to work. So I would say that somebody accuses me of that, but I think I'm fortunate enough that the popular actors have agreed to work on these ideas. So yeah, I think I'm okay with that. And I mean, I don't know आगे जाके करेंगे भी कि नहीं, हो सकता नहीं भी करें, because then box office results are now for me is diminishing. So you don't know what's going to happen next.
So two things. First, आप बोलते हैं थोड़ा मुझे अपनी इमेज सुधारनी है. So आप वहाँ हैं. It's still aspirational for a whole lot of people. And as far as diminishing box office, it's a global trend. If you go to film festivals all over the world, that's the only thing they're discussing. How we can no longer afford to shoot in, say, LA. How film productions are moving to countries like the UK or Australia, which offer better rebates. So please, थोड़ा और कम लोड ले लें.
ठीक.
I want to ask someone in the audience, which Rajat Kapoor film is this line from? मैं Chinese हूँ, मैं Japanese हूँ. What? Are you telling me the actors improvised? Yeah. Well, it's one of my favorite films of you all live in. I want to ask you, what gives you the motivation to continue making films? Like, I've had the privilege of reading 3 or 4 of those scripts. They truly are independent in that they often go into the world which is totally bizarre, and it goes into a space where you start to question your own morality and your own understanding of human equations, or like a whodunit story about a murder that sort of happens in a house, and people continue to play a game on top of the dead body. Or a man who decides कि मैंने दुनिया बहुत देख ली, अब मैं कुछ बोलूँगा ही नहीं, जो मैं आँखों देखी होगी वही मैं बोलूँगा. So what gives you the perseverance, or is it that you think that you can't do the other thing, it's not true to you?
Which is the other thing?
The other thing is to, sort of, I guess, okay, this is the normal trajectory, because I have a lot of filmmaker friends who went from independent and crossed over to sort of larger films, including actors. It starts off with a great deal of honesty for the story, and somewhere along the way it becomes like, after a point, even for a studio, even for a director, and there is absolutely no judgment there, because you want bigger budgets to tell your story properly. Maybe your need is that you need a nice drone and great rigs and great lenses, and all those things cost money. So that is the other thing, where you sort of make a little calculation, adjust some things in your jigsaw puzzle, and apply your own version of jugaad and sort of move.
So, 2 different things I'll try and answer both. Why does one make a certain kind of film? Is because there's something from within which is pushing me. That film is really trying to be born. And now I realize, after having made a few films, that there is maybe a kind of a pattern in these people. Maybe these are films about obsessive men. So I can see now some thematic continuation. So obviously there is something which troubles me enough for me to come again with a similar story or a similar character in a different world though. And I do believe that I make films, or anybody pursues his art to discover somewhat about the universe that we inhabit, but even more about who we are. And I think that is the journey that keeps pushing you to work, to discover yourself. The second thing, I'm not interested in making a film that is not, that I'm not completely involved with emotionally, philosophically, aesthetically. I'd rather sit at home, write something, read something, do a play. But this is very important to me. So now I have to work in a different way. I have to keep my budget so low that I try and get as much complete independence to make the film that I want. And that's why it is hard. Of course, it takes 3-4 years to find even little money for such films. Yeah, but I think it's a journey which is.
Of course, because of audiovisual medium, it's available all over. So I think now I feel you are more used to it. Now you have to excel there. So for them, I feel that golden period of independent cinema was then actually for me.
I agree. Actually, when I got the writer for this moderation, it said in the last 10 years, I want to say India has a glorious legacy and history of independent films that we've all grown up watching. And I don't think they would have been possible without support from the state, without support from NFDC, without support from other grants and funds, and without the opportunity to show them in theatres. Like I remember as a 4-year-old, my first exposure to Sham Benegal happened at this theatre called Falak Numa in Delhi, where my parents dragged me. They were both teachers in the university, and it was an open air theatre, and it was very, very affordable for all families, and people would just come there and watch cinema. That culture, I feel like we must inculcate. So, bravo! Please continue to do more film festivals, because that's the only way it goes on. Chadha, coming to you, when I think of the Kashish Film Festival, from what it was to what it is today, what it means to filmmakers from the queer community.
You know, a lot of barriers per se. So barrier ko paar karte thak gaya. It should be a long time. Basically, because everywhere there's a barrier. You're talking about censorship barrier to films, that's one, and funding barrier is there. And also, none of the actors wanted to do these roles of a gay or lesbian characters. Those are the barriers. And of course, the distribution is a different barrier. So it's been a lot of barriers, but I would say, like, I mean, once you have passion, you just overcome these barriers. That's the way I have been. But I just want to bring out the fact that, like, audience के mind में दो ही तरह के films हैं, एक थिएटर में लगने वाली और एक film festival में चलने वाली. उनके लिए independent cinema का क्या? I don't think there's a definition of independent cinema for them. So theater में चलने वाली, and also independent films when we make them, we still have to seek the mainstream commercial companies or actors and everybody to support it. Otherwise, it'll never go ahead. So we usually, when we make the independent cinema, when we're going to the theatre, finally we need to have the multiplex to support us. That's one. And also the OTT platforms. So we're going to the commercial to support the independent to reach out. Because independent cinema can only reach out so far as a film festival. You know? But beyond that, to reach out to millions of people, you need the support of commercial cinema, commercial apparatus. That's what I would say. You know? And that's a tragedy, unfortunately, in India right now. Because in US, if you go, there are independent cinema houses which screen these films. You know? They give you a 1 week slot. That's fine. At least a 1 week, 1 show run, you should get that much at least without having to pay lakhs of rupees. You know? So I feel that, like, a film festival like this would be very helpful in showcasing, but we need to push beyond that. Kashish has been trying to do that. It's been showcasing LGBTQ cinema since 2010 for the last 16 years. We have pushed all the barriers. We have been managed to get the clearance of the censor board and IMSS. You know, they're making films on LGBTQ issues, and we supported them and had theatrical distribution of the films, you know, in PVR cinema for a week. So these are the milestones for us, you know, having LGBTQ films distributed in theaters. Also, we distributed through Disney Hotstar and MX Player. We distributed LGBTQ films to reach a wider public. So right now, these areas also blocked right now. Unfortunately, there's no platform for short filmmakers to exhibit their films in an OTT platform. I don't think GeoStar is picking up a few of them, but really short films have nowhere to go once they make the film. They have to subsist on YouTube or their own other platforms. And Amir Khan can put it on 100 rupees and get that traction, but for you to get that traction on YouTube is going to be very difficult. Suppose you have invested, like, say, 50 lakh rupees to make the film. To get the 50 lakh rupees is a nightmare. I'm just saying it from my own experience. But I think right now I'm very happy that more platforms are there to support LGBTQ cinema. There are more people coming out open And I think after 2018, reading down 16 there's more openness. But still, I would say we don't get enough place at the tables. Suppose there's an OTT show. How many LGBTQ, non-LGBTQ people, of course there are LGBTQ people in all departments, but how many out LGBTQ people are there who are running these shows, who are writing these shows, who are directing these shows, who are acting in these shows? So that's still, I think we need more space at the table, that's what I would say. We have come so far, but I'm sure the younger generation will take it ahead for sure.
And big props to you, because Kashish itself is such a new film festival, not new in terms of age, but in terms of social acceptability. And yet they fund short films by new young upcoming filmmakers. They give them money actually to make the film, and then they have screenings. I saw one such film. I saw all four that you had funded last year, and they were all glorious. They all dealt with very complicated things like coming out, or like for a trans person to go to the beach for the first time and remove their shirt and enjoy that, or just the naturalness of a homosexual couple, and how it was not portrayed in any kind of cliche or any kind of, they were just having a couple stiff. So that was wonderful, and I think it's amazing that we are able to do that, and I hope that there are more ways in which cinema can be supported. Small anecdote from our side, last year we produced a film called Girls Will Be Girls. It was meant to go to the last year, so we were meant to still with its own kind of cinema, gave grants to upcoming filmmakers, they had a fund, and now we see they have a little theatre in somewhere in America, but it's still commendable that they are able to have a theatre and run. So, कैसा लगेगा आपको if we all pull in some money and buy a movie hall in Juhu where we can show independent films or interesting films? And I know that I'm not the first person with this idea. I know everyone, like from the spectrum of Abhay Deol to I see you guys nodding.
There should be a cinema thing. We won't do it. I'm sure Shivanand Singh will do it.
There used to be Akashvani.
Akashvani was there.
And Shakuntala.
Actually, it was Shakuntala. It was more or less all the shows. It's only one show. I saw all the what you can say films of Shyam Benegal or
Hungarian films and Czech films.
All were there in that film. German films, which all were there in Shakuntala. So there was a dedicated theatre in Delhi, but सारे ये जिनके पास पैसे नहीं होते थे वो वहाँ.
But you have a cinema thing in every big city in the world. There is a cinema thing that shows only independent films or art films as they call it. And it would be a dream to have one in Bombay. Even if there are only 30 people in each show, to keep running that cinema, and it's possible. I don't know how much money will it take. It's possible.
So
50 seats. No. You have diverse cinema and diverse audiences coming in, and just 50 seats, 4 screens, just build a multiplex, whatever is Cineplex or something. So it'll be a great idea.
ये अच्छा आइडिया, लेकिन मैं तुझे बताता हूँ कि इंडिपेंडेंट फिल्म अगर बनाना है, सबसे पहले ये डिसाइड कर लो हाउ मच लॉस यू वांट टू डू. क्लियर था कि इतना लॉस तो मैं ले लूँगा, देन यू आर ओके, बिकॉज ये इंडिपेंडेंट सिनेमा चलेगी नहीं कभी. It's only चलेगा when पैट्रोनेज अगर मिलता है. Otherwise, because I'm seeing this since 80s, I'm telling you, all the films, not a single film to recover. If these 3 elements are there in your, this you can figure out with yourself, you're happy with it. Somewhere कोई ना कोई देख लेगा in due course. हमने भुवन शो देख ही लिया, अभी तक बहुत लोगों ने जिसको देखना था देख ही लिया. 69 की फिल्म है, लेकिन इसको टाइम भी लगा उसको. गर्म हवा लोगों ने देख भी लिया, देखा है लोगों ने, ऐसा नहीं. So that's it.
Shoojit is right. But the idea of the cinema thing eventually will not be doing money. It would be a money-losing proposition, but it is essential.
or we can do what the big cinema chains do, run a cafe outside where one samosa is for $500. That definitely takes care of the ticket prices. I do think a big reason why people are not going to the cinemas is because everyone's more broke than they were pre-COVID and tickets are expensive.
कोलकाता में हमारा सिनेमा देखने का एक कारण हुआ था क्योंकि हॉल के लॉबी में बार हुआ
ऐसा ही कुछ इनोवेशन हमको चाहिए।
तो नहीं आता अंदर ही कोलकाता के ऑल हॉल्स के लॉबी में एक बार होता है। So you go and take one drink and go into the theater. Interval में खाओ, एक और drink, finish the film, come back, take a drink and go back home. So and cheap. So that's a
And every film is a good film.
A lot of people don't know that in Kolkata every film has a bar, every film theater.
That's a damn good idea. Anyone, is there a person here with the last name Bijli or any other? Okay, well, so as we speak about independent cinema and footfalls in theatres, we also have in front of us a model which is seemingly working, which is the model of Malayalam films. They stand out, and whether it's independent films like All We Imagine, they always have, and now Kerala is actually offering money, like a shooting subsidy to come there and shoot. And one of the more regarded festivals from India is the IFFK, which happens in Kerala every year. So now, do you think, Sircar, coming to you, the reason for the success of these films is not just that they are made at a smaller budget, but also they are super rooted stories, and there is a cap on ticket prices in the south. What is it about North Indians that I am not asking because you are South Indian. I am just saying. No. What is it about us and this? Like in Punjabi, there is a word called anak. Why?
Both these have a sustainability some way or other.
Yeah, Richa, I think what you are asking is it's quite difficult in terms of because you're asking panels हो रहे हैं, radio हो रहा है, everything, it's automatically going on. Now, a state like that, a place like that, where independent cinema is completely washed out. इसका क्या लॉजिक है? कोई लॉजिक है? मैं क्या बोल सकते हैं कि the liking for cinema has gone down, the IQ has gone down. What? I mean, you don't know what it is.
First of all, what I meant by accessibility is that even like 5 years ago, you could go and watch a Salman Khan film for 80 rupees. I guess you still can in some theatres like UT Galaxy or whatever. But there is an entire class that can no longer afford to step into the multiplex. That's what I meant. It's a question affordability.
लेकिन वो आपका ऑडियंस है भी नहीं, वो आपका ऑडियंस है भी नहीं। जिस ऑडियंस की आप बात कर रहे हो कि सस्ते टिकट में जाएंगे, वो आपकी फिल्में देखने जाएंगे। वो आप जाएंगे, वो जिसका नाम लिया आपने उनका फिल्म देखेंगे।
नहीं, वो ठीक है।
मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ, वो यू नेवर नॉट गो एंड वॉच दैट फिल्म। आप कितना भी टिकट उसका ₹2 भी कर दीजिए, आपको you have to, there is a call to go and watch that film. For example, if there is for me, if there is a Martin Scorsese film, I even don't want to see the trailer. I just go and walk to the theater, buy the ticket and get in. I'll see what he's showing me. I think that love for the maker or the actor or whoever it is, that's there in commercial cinema. Okay, इस actor को है, तो I am a fan, I love this actor, मैं पूजा करता हूँ इसको, I'll go and watch it. But we come from an independent film background where we love directors, writers, you know. So there are many filmmakers. There is a Christopher Nolan film, I'll go and watch it. So I'm saying there is that pattern. आज भी अगर कोई रे रहता और फिल्म बनाता, मैं आँख बंद करके देखता, whatever he would have made. So I would not have stopped myself and not watched that film.
This is an interesting thing that Shoojit brought up, that why is the cinema movement itself dying? What has happened? What changes come over in the last 40 years? That there was an audience for this kind of cinema. It's completely vanished.
It's a Tamil film. Yeah, Tamil film called Bad Girl is also playing. I think Vechi Maran is producer on it. So these are films that are available to you. You can go and watch them. And it would be nice if you can go and watch them, because then when you say these films don't make money, then part of the... You have to give some money also. You have to do your bit.
And if you can't go to watch them, just pay us money here.
But I also think the multiplexes somehow conspire against these films because they have them in Malad running at 11 o'clock in the night.
These kind of films are watched by people who are also working or students. So for 11 o'clock student or a 12 o'clock fine. Then again the next show, all the evening shows are taken by big films. One
That grant that gives you 2 crores, that you don't have to pay that money back, it's soft money. Where is that person? Why doesn't that person exist in this country that gives the world Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai? क्या हम लोग बेवकूफ है क्या? नहीं ना? So why is there no such person?
Person for an organization. NFTC was meant for this purpose. I don't know where the purpose is gone.
The NFTC people would argue we still exist. They just announced their lineup for the film bazaar, and they will say that we are trying to do all we can. However, on that note, I would like to tell you that the NFTC promised us.
But every time the film releases, I go.
Group picture.
We need to reveal the catalog, right? We need to pull out the catalog.
पब्लिक बढ़ेगी ना,
Vinta, you come out.
पीछे जाना पड़ेगा। थोड़ा राइट साइड में घूम। होगा नहीं ना? अरे कैसे होगा अपना? अरे बैग जाओ, बैग जाओ है, एक नहीं होगा। सॉरी मैम, वो बैग रख दीजिए ना, बैग रख दीजिए। अरे आप इधर ठीक थी, परफेक्ट थी इधर यहाँ पे। अभी वो सर नहीं दिख रहे हैं, अब इधर ही थी। अरे अपना हाँ पूरा आगे, हाँ बस 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 सामने देखो। रेडी रेडी मैडम, स्माइल प्लीज।
Which madam?
What kind of madam?
थैंक यू।
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we just have a picture with that?
Yes, 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 yes. Amul.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Jalpa, you should have come out.